Hello everyone, Rurikhan here coming at you with another video, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about Titanfall. So I actually was given a code by Electronic Arts @_Jigsy, who was the same person who got me into the beta last time around, and I got to test out the game after it has been released, which is actually a good thing because the game has suffered a number of improvements. It's weird to say that, suffered a number of improvements. The game has received some improvements in regards to the beta, quite a few on the performance side of things, at least for me personally. Again, your mileage may vary depending on the setup that your rig had. Maybe the beta was running fine for you, but for me it wasn't running all that good because my machine is over 3 years old. But I'm happy to say that the final version of Titanfall actually runs a lot better. It is still not perfect. There's a couple of occasions like when the screen gets just completely cluttered with Titans and just there's maybe stuff flying all over the place, people throwing missiles and rockets and all that stuff. When there's too much stuff on screen, yeah, it can get a little bit bogged down, and it does slow down the frame rate a little bit, but for the most part it is actually quite solid. Now, another thing that a lot of people might be wondering is, after Titanfall officially released, how are the servers doing? And I should inform you guys, by the way, this is the PC version we're talking about. I can only play on the PC version because the Xbox One is actually not released in Portugal yet. So on the PC side of things, the servers, I'm connected to the data center for West Europe, and the servers, I haven't gone down once, I haven't been disconnected once. I think I've spent at this point like 5 to 6 hours with the title. And again, I haven't gotten disconnected once. I haven't had any issues at all with the servers, which is surprising because when a game like this, which is pretty much online only, launches, you'd kind of expect these types of difficulties of people just like jam-packing the server. And it's not like I'm playing at like 5 a.m. or some weird hour. I was playing on the 14th of March at around 10 p.m. and 14th of March actually happened to be a Friday, so it was Friday night, and Friday night is usually gamers night because you don't have to work or you don't have to study or go to school on Saturday, usually, most people. So Friday night is kind of like the time that a lot of gamers have to play video games without having too much to worry about. At least that's the way I personally see it. So even though that was probably the time at which the servers were supposed to be getting hit the hardest, considering that 14th of March was actually the official release, I think at least, it was the official release for me in Portugal. So I'm not sure if it was the official release all over Europe, but that was kind of like the release date for the PC servers, for the Titanfall PC version at least, and I had no issues whatsoever connecting to servers or getting connected or any particular lag issues, which again, the fact that I don't have lag is definitely a good indication because my internet connection is a piece of crap and it really, really just sucks. So I was really impressed with the fact that I didn't have all that much lag. So apart from all these improvements and in terms of performance and whatnot, in case you guys are wondering, I was running the game pretty much everything on max apart from shadows. I put those to medium. I didn't even try to put them to high because I just kind of assumed that my rig would be slowing down on some aspects, so I just chose, just slide down the shadows a little bit. I'm also only running 2 times anti-aliasing. So, again, not that impressive, but like I said, my rig is not that impressive to begin with, so I have no business trying to fool around with that kind of stuff anyways. But, yeah, those were my experiences overall in terms of performance, server stability, lag, and all that stuff. So what about the rest of the game? Because something that wasn't available during the beta was the campaign mode. So I got to play the campaign mode, which would probably be the footage that you guys are watching right now in the background. And the campaign mode is, I'm a little bit of mixed feelings about it, because here's the thing, they're trying to do something which not a lot of people have really done, I don't think. Again, my experience on the shooter field is really, really low, so I can't really speak and just say, oh, nobody's done this before, because I'm just not that sure, but I haven't seen it done often, which is to actually try and make a campaign that that works on an online competitive environment, because pretty much that is what happens. There's 2 campaigns in the game. Well, in reality there is 1 campaign, but it's like you can experience the campaign from both sides, and you should, because it like unlocks Titans, and you also level up while you're doing the campaign, so you get the multiplayer unlocks and all that stuff. So you should definitely experience both sides of the story, and there is somewhat of a different story. Well, the story is essentially the same. What differs is the characters that show up, because on one side you have the IMC, on the other side you have the militia. They seem to both be somewhat struggling for control over resources and fuel and all that stuff. And there's heroes that show up on both sides, and like the people that lead you and the generals, and there's basically a lot of radio chatter as you are doing these missions. The campaign missions, that is. And as you are going through these campaign missions, basically, let's say you have, I believe it's always 6 on 6. So let's say there's 6 people playing for the IMC side, and they're doing the IMC side of the campaign. There's going to be at the same time 6 people fighting for the militia, and they're going to be doing the militia side of the campaign. So the 6 people that are on the militia side are going to get exposed to the militia side of the story. They're going to get a lot of radio chatter. They're going to get a couple of cinematics at the start of the mission, as well as different cinematics at the end of the mission, depending on the outcome of the mission. However, the fact of whether you win or lose the campaign doesn't really seem to hold any sort of consequence or anything like that, because basically, let's say you're doing a fuel raid, and in case you fail the mission, let's say you're the militia. I think this is actually like the very first mission of all. The militia is doing a fuel raid, and let's say if you're the militia and you win, you get the fuel, and the end speech is like, oh, you won, you got the fuel, you're the man, and all this other stuff, right? Well, not you're the man, because your character doesn't really take like center stage, so to speak, but it's like, yay, we win, we got the fuel. But if you lose the mission, basically what happens is you get a speech that says, well, we kind of messed that up, we didn't really get the fuel, but we still have enough fuel to kind of survive for another month or so, and the campaign just moves on from that to the next stage of the campaign. And like I said, you pretty much play this, as far as I can tell anyways. I haven't completed the campaign on both sides. I only completed the campaign on the IMC side of things. But you pretty much do the exact same stages, except from one side you play as the IMC, the other side you play as the militia. And that's pretty much it. So there's no consequence whether you win or lose. You just advance, and you still get exposed to the storyline, as well as the different cutscenes and all that. And you guys might be wondering, so how exactly is the game telling us this story while we're in the middle of a match against other players? And what happens is exactly what you would think. Like, people show up on your heads-up display. There are cinematics happening, like of the conflict that's happening. There's even a mission where there's a specific cinematic of the conflict between 2 of the main characters, and that cinematic kind of takes place on a little square on your heads-up display. There's another mission where there's this struggle to take control of a cannon, I want to say, which is trying to shoot down some kind of orbiting satellite. And every now and then you will see like a mini cinematic show up once again on a little square on your heads-up display, when the cannon shoots down like a ship or something. And all this stuff is happening while you are fighting other players, and that, I feel, is kind of like what really kept me from fully experiencing the campaign. Is that, look, I'm focused right now, taking care of this player that's in his Titan, and I'm trying to get my own Titan down here, and I need to control that point, and I need to do this. And at the same time, the game is like, oh, but this really amazing thing is happening over there. Look at that cannon shooting down this thing. And I'm like, but what the hell is happening? Then there's all this radio chatter going off at the same time. It's like, oh my God, we're losing. We need to like get something back together to like rally over here, get me control of these points. And, it's just very, at least me personally, I felt very overwhelmed with everything that was happening, like, all at once. And maybe it's just a sign that I'm getting old or something, or maybe it's just because I'm not that good at shooters. But the fact of the matter is, I played through most of the campaign through the IMC side, and I barely understood anything that was going on. Like, I got this idea that we were working for some robots, and I don't really know why. And then at the end, there's kind of a little bit of a plot twist, which I don't really want to spoil for you guys. So I kind of got an overall idea of what was happening, but I didn't really fully grasp what was happening at any given time throughout that campaign. But still, I figure that if I were to replay, I would maybe be able to pay more attention because now I have a little bit more experience in fighting and all that stuff. Because the very first time I played on the beta, I played for like, I don't know, maybe an hour, if that much. And this time I actually spent a little bit more time customizing my character, figuring out the type of stuff that I do like using and the stuff that I don't like using. So yeah, and I got to do a lot more customization, even though I don't seem to have really unlocked the ability to customize my Titan, because you have to level up in order to be able to do that. But I am able to customize my pilot with a couple of additional weapons that I've unlocked. So that portion of the multiplayer works pretty much as any other multiplayer. You unlock this stuff as you progress in levels. You level up by killing other pilots, or even by killing the grunts, the bots that are in the middle of the map. Which again, it's still a very satisfying experience from a shooting standpoint. Not a lot has really changed in terms of how the action works. I still really enjoy going from point A to point B super fast, wall running, double jumping, and doing all other kinds of crazy parkour stuff. That is still incredibly satisfying. However, for some reason this time around, I was also really having a lot of fun with the Titans, which, if I'm to be completely honest, during the short amount of time that I played the beta, I would a lot of times just prefer to be a soldier as opposed to actually playing inside the Titan. This time around, however, I have to admit, I did have a lot more fun playing with the Titans and all that. Now, another criticism that I would like to talk about is the actual matchmaking of the game. I feel the matchmaking needs to be somewhat tuned, because my first match in Titanfall was like I went straight into campaign. I didn't play any multiplayer match. I did the whole training thing, and after that I went straight into the campaign. I got set up as an IMC, and the first match that I got thrown into, I was just like, whoa, what the hell? So I got thrown into a match which was 4v6 in the favor of the opposing team, and most of those all of those 6 people were above level 30, whereas the 4 people, including myself, because it was 4v6 total, we were all below level 10. And I was like, wait a minute. I mean, for starters, there's 2 more of them than there are of us. And then they're all above level 30 and we're all below level 10. That feels kind of weird. And I know there's going to be a lot of people saying it doesn't really matter because if you shoot someone in the head, they die anyways. It's all that. But here's the thing. I'm not saying that it was unbalanced, like from a combat effectiveness standpoint. What I'm saying was unbalanced is from an experience level standpoint, because here's the thing. Like someone who's got, I don't know, 10 hours or however much you need to actually get to level 30 in Titanfall is going to be a lot better than me, who just started playing the game. And it was just a very weird experience because it was completely lopsided. Like, we had no chance. I would try to pull down my Titan, as every single time I pulled down my Titan got instantly killed. Then the Titan would get killed as well, because I was saying I got instantly killed. Titan would get killed, I would spawn, get killed, and it was just like I didn't even dent the enemy team. But yeah, that was a little bit frustrating. But then I just left the lobby, and it's kind of like new players, if you're considering getting Titanfall, something that you need to pay attention to is when you join a game, really look at the enemy team's level and look at how many there are there, like if they have a numbers advantage on you, be it in level or in size, and just like leave the lobby and get queued for another one. That's the only thing I can really say. I feel they really need to work on that matchmaking, at least on the PC side of things. I can't speak for the Xbox side of things because I just don't know what's happening on that end. But apart from that, the experience is still great. It's still rock solid, and even in my last match, because I was playing just now, I was actually trying out the Tank Titan because I've been playing mostly Assault, and I think Tank Titan is actually a lot better for me just because of the amount of damage each shot does. So that's pretty cool. I like the fact that there's different play styles. You can really see that there's an emphasis on speed of movement and just like freedom of movement at all times when you're a pilot, and there's a completely different playstyle there when you actually enter the Titan, which is something that, again, I've already mentioned in my first impressions video, and I really don't want to repeat myself, but Titanfall is definitely scratching that shooter itch because it's something that I don't often get excited about playing a shooter, but I do have to say when I do play Titanfall, it's a lot of fun. And I know this almost seems like a sponsored by EA message at this point. But no, it's a fun shooter. If you're looking forward to a shooter, Titanfall is a lot of fun. Now, whether or not it's super competitive and all that and super balanced, I can't tell you because my experience with shooters, as I've said, is severely limited. But I'm interested to see what you guys think about it. Leave me in the comment sections, like those of you who have gotten Titanfall, those of you who are playing Titanfall. How do you personally feel about it? And if it's something that you would like to see more of in the channel, because I could see myself recording a match or two. I'm just not too sure about the live commenting aspect of it, because as you guys probably noticed, this video is post commentary because I tried doing live commentary, and it ended up being, oh, I'm going to go get this point, I'm going to go shoot this guy, I'm going to go do this, going to go do that. And it's like, well, I can't really talk about the graphics, I can't talk about the performance, the server stability thing, which is a couple of things that I wanted to address. As a matter of fact, I haven't even mentioned the graphics. When I played the beta, the textures were really bad, and at least for me personally, and I didn't even, of course they were bad because I didn't have the graphics set up all the way, and the performance wasn't really that great. And in the final version, I was able to actually crank up the textures to insane, and the game was just running fine. And again, a lot of people are going to say, oh, it's just a source engine. Yes, but it's a heavily modified version of the source engine, so yeah, it's kind of a big deal. Now, having said that, there is something that I would really like to see eventually first-person shooter developers tackle, which is collision detection with other players. I feel that this is a problem that affects a lot of shooters, and I didn't really prepare any footage to kind of show you explicitly what happens. Well, and a lot of people are going to say, oh, that's just lag, that's just this, that's just the other thing, but it's like my lag has been sub 70 milliseconds throughout most of my experience with Titanfall, so I don't want to say that it's lag, but the thing that I'm talking about is how when you're close to other players and like you're about to hit the other players, you kind of feel that there's almost like a force field effect there, and sometimes your character bounces a little back and forth. This happens to me pretty much on almost every shooter I've ever played, I want to say. It's kind of awkward when you run into someone, when you run against someone of your own team, and it's even more awkward if it happens to take place when you're both on Titans. It's just like this weird, awkward situation that you can't really navigate properly, but there needs to be collision detection, of course. I just wish there was some improvement in that area, and that would be something that I would consider a really big evolutionary step in terms of shooters personally. But either way, like I said, in terms of a shooter, it's definitely a solid shooter. It's definitely a fun experience. The campaign is somewhat confusing and overwhelming because of all the stuff that is taking place at the same time. And apart from that, the other multiplayer modes, I haven't really tried them, but effectively, as far as I can tell, the campaign goes through multiple of those modes, except maybe Last Titan Standing, because I don't think there, at least on the IMC side of things, I went through the whole campaign. There was never like a Last Titan Standing mission that I've noticed. It was mostly attrition and hardpoint, if not just attrition and hardpoint. Yeah, I think it was just attrition and hardpoint for pretty much everything throughout the campaign. Of course, there were like other things that you could do. I remember there was a map. This is probably available in the normal multiplayer as well. There was a map that you could hack turrets, I want to say, and the turrets would like shoot other people. I don't know. I don't know 100% how that stuff works because I didn't go too in depth. As you guys know, I just get in there, have some fun, and let you guys know my opinion. The game's fun. If you like the footage that you're watching in the background and you are into shooters, more than likely you will enjoy this title. If you don't like the footage that you are watching in the background, then you probably will not like this title. However, something that I can definitely tell you with all certainty, this is not just Call of Duty with Titans, and once you get into your Titan, you are not an unstoppable killing machine, which is something that I've also heard from a lot of people. It's like, oh, Titanfall, you get into your Titan, you're just unstoppable killing machine. And when someone says that, the only thing that it really tells me is like, You haven't really played the game, have you? Yeah, because it's not like that at all. I feel a lot more frail when I'm inside a Titan than when I'm on the ground. But that's just me personally, because I am not that good at being inside a Titan just yet. But I'm working on it. So anyways, thank you very much for watching the video. Leave me your comments, feedback, all that kinds of good stuff in the comment section below. And I will see you guys in the next one.